guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video I have for you an alopecia Q&A. So I actually put out onto my Instagram, PolFitJess Alopecia if you want the handle. I'll link it on the screen in case you want to check me out and follow me over there. I put out if anyone had any questions just about my experience with alopecia or alopecia in general, and I got quite a few responses, so I've picked 10 of them and I've got them written down for you. I'm going to go through today. So yeah, although I haven't already said, my name is Jess and I put out content on alopecia and hair loss related things, and also pole fitness. So if that's something you're interested in, then please do like and subscribe. So yeah, let's just jump straight in. So the first question is, do you have any other autoimmune conditions? Yes, I have eczema. So my eczema used to be quite bad when I was little. I used to have steroid creams that now if I'm like in the sun for prolonged periods and getting tan, you can see like I have quite big like pale scars on my arms from where I used to use it so much. And also, I used to get it in the creases of my arms and also the backs of my legs. And when I actually went to see the dermatologist, one of the first things they asked was, did I have eczema? And as soon as I said yeah, he was like, yeah, it makes sense, you've got alopecia. Apparently if you have autoimmune conditions, it's quite common to have more than one. Yeah, so that's interesting. So yeah, I have eczema. I have actually got a tiny little outbreak of it on my cheek at the moment. So my triggers are orange juice, which is random, but also cats and dogs. So yes, I do have eczema, but as far as I'm aware, I don't have any other autoimmune conditions. It's just alopecia and eczema. So the next question, how often do you wash your wigs? So I actually don't really wear wigs anymore. I have recently got a hair replacement system that I'm still getting used to. I'm not at work today, so I'm not wearing it, but I will be putting out some videos on that soon. But I did used to wear wigs every day for over a year, and when I used to wear them, I used to wash them once a week, sometimes a little bit less if like I haven't been wearing them much, if I was like off work or something. I actually used to find that I didn't really like washing my wigs. I don't know, it just kind of reminded me that I didn't have hair, so I used to leave it until I really needed to, but because I was wearing it every day and the sort of work I was doing, yeah, I used to wash my wigs every week. The next one, have you had any regrowth? Yes and no. So when I first started losing my hair, etc., I was seeing my dermatologist, I did actually get some steroid injections into my eyebrows, and I did see some regrowth. A couple of days after having them injected, I had some tiny little like black hairs coming back through onto my eyebrow. So they didn't come through white or anything, they did come through as my hair was, my dark brown / black hair. But they fell out again within 2 weeks, so I actually didn't get any more done, just because I didn't feel like it would worth it in case it was scarring, and for such a short period of seeing hair growth back, I just didn't really think it was worth it, so I haven't actually got any more. But I have recently had some hair growth, and I'll put a picture on the screen. You might not even be able to see them because the hairs were so tiny and they were really pale, they were like white hairs. But yeah, me and my partner and my family one day were on the beach and we were like sat outside and it was really bright and I'd taken off my hat, and yeah, he noticed I had hairs on my head, so I got really excited and started like every day I was like looking in the mirror at like my eyebrows and eyelashes, hoping that they'd come through, but they didn't. It was just on my scalp, which I was really happy about, just to see some sort of hair growth. It just confirmed to me that alopecia isn't scarring for me, which I'm really fortunate about, and I can get some sort of hair growth back hopefully in the future if some treatments come out and things like that. You never know with alopecia if it's going to come back or not really. So yeah, I have seen some, and those little hairs stayed for around 2 months. I think they've gone now. I do occasionally have another look, but I haven't seen any since. But yeah, when I did get some hair growth back on my head, they were probably like 1 to 2 millimeters, like maximum in length, and they would it was all in like one area, and they'd fall out quite a lot and then come back. But interestingly, I didn't actually see any hair growth in the areas where my hair loss first started, which was like on the sides of my head. It was only on like the very top of my head that I actually saw some. So yes and no to regrowth really, but at the minute I don't have anything have come back. So the next one, is alopecia in your family? Yes, so I have actually spoken a little bit more detail about this in my alopecia story video. I will link it down below in case you're interested. I talk through my whole alopecia like story and process and all the different types I've had and stuff like that in that video. But just to summarise, it is in my family on my mother's side. So my mum has alopecia areata. She just has some patches that come and go. It's not really noticeable, it's just around the back of her head, and they come and go quite often. And my nan's sister, I think it was, when she was quite young, probably like 6 or something, lost all of her hair and she actually wore wigs. So yeah, alopecia is in my family, but my dermatologist basically said for me that it's a combination of stress and genetics. So yeah, that's basically what they think caused my hair loss, but yeah, it is in my family. How do you feel about your hair loss now? Yeah, so that was an interesting one actually, because it's still quite mixed emotions. I think it has been coming up 2 years now since I basically braved the shave and took what little I did have and shaved it off. My partner did it for me. I would say I used to, when it first happened, I would have more bad days than good. Now the bad days are quite rare. I feel like, because it's been a couple of years now, I think the biggest challenge for me was actually getting used to my new appearance. And although I miss my hair a lot, I actually used to find my hair a little bit of a pain in the butt, because I used to have really curly hair, so I'd like straighten it every day, and I was really paranoid about it being like curly and like frizzy and stuff like that. So it's not the actual like having the hair and making it look like nice and styling it that I miss. It's just kind of like how I used to look. So for me, yeah, it has actually taken, I would say it's only in the last like 6 months or so that I've actually come to terms with like my hair loss and actually accepted it. And when it first happened, I was adamant that I would never be happy with my hair, and I would always have bad days and just never be happy. It was quite a dark time. It was really horrible. But yeah, it's been a couple of years now, and actually I'm feeling quite good about it. Don't get me wrong, I miss my hair an awful lot. I really do miss how I used to look, and yeah, I don't think I will ever completely, be okay with my hair loss. It's still a drastic change, and yeah, I think I will always miss my hair, but in general, I do feel like I'm quite happy at the moment. I'm probably in the best space I've ever been mentally and also physically about my hair loss. Yeah, and things are okay. And if you are going through hair loss and you're, in the initial stages and you're thinking what I was thinking back then, that it will never get better and you'll never get used to it, just from my experience, you do, because I really was adamant that I would never ever get used to my hair or be happy. But actually, you do. So yeah, hang in there. Things do get better. The next, this one's quite good, it leads on actually. So how do you deal with bad days, like about hair loss? So for me, I'm one of those people that when I'm having a bad day, I don't really like to go out. I'm a little bit of an introvert. I just like to get a good film on, get my cozies on, do a little steam on my face and a face mask and just relax. And for me as well, I tend to avoid social media if I'm having a bad day, because it just kind of reminds me of what I've lost in terms of hair, seeing all these lovely photos of like beautiful girls with like all their like stunning hair. Yeah, I just avoid social media basically. But I think I'm at a stage now where I have actually processed and gone through a lot of the emotions and kind of like the real like nitty gritty stuff in terms of getting coming to terms with hair loss. So for me, it's basically when I'm having a bad day, it's just the fact that I miss how I look, and I'm almost a little bit angry. I'm just like, it's so unfair. And so yeah, I just try to distract myself really. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, the bad days for me are quite rare. So I just give myself a little bit of self-love and do things that I enjoy and stay off social media really. Although saying that, I do find that social media has been incredibly helpful for me processing my hair loss in general. And what I mean by that is just kind of like the alopecia community, particularly on Instagram. There are so many people that are out there and extremely brave, sharing their stories, that are open to like talking and putting out videos and things. And I found that to be very helpful. But if I am having quite a bad day, I generally just turn it off and keep myself to myself and yeah, treat myself for the day really. So the next one, have you tried any diets for your hair loss? No, and if I'm honest, I don't think I will. So and the reason being, when I first started losing my hair, I was on the internet for hours looking for anything and everything that could reverse my hair loss. I come across some really random stuff that actually I don't think works at all. At the end of the day, it's an autoimmune condition. I don't really know if there's anything I could do to kind of bring my hair back. I think alopecia is one of those things, it's going to do what it's going to do, and yeah, coming to terms with that fact in itself has really helped me. See, I found things like rubbing raw onions on your head or like rice water and stuff. And yeah, I do see some things where people say these sort of things work, but for me, I just don't want to try them. I think it's just, in the end, it's going to bring me more negative feelings than good. At the end of the day, if something comes out that has real strong scientific backing that, it is going to encourage my hair growth, then maybe I'll be open to trying it. But I think where I'm at a stage now that I'm quite content with my hair loss, I don't really want to enter back into that mindset of like trying to undo it or overcome it or like reverse my hair loss, just because I think it's just going to bring more negative emotions than good. Don't get me wrong though, I do think some diets can be very good for you, especially like anti-inflammatory diets. There is some information that says like inflammation, by reducing that, can like encourage hair growth and things like that. I don't know a huge amount about it, and I've not really let myself look into it, just because I think again it might be a little bit of false hope for me. So yeah, that's basically why I haven't really tried any diets to help my hair loss, and I don't think I will at the moment. Yeah, but we will see in the future, so I may be open to trying something. So the next one is, what creams or treatment have you tried? Yeah, so I'll start off with the treatment. So as I mentioned earlier, I have had some steroid injections into my eyebrows. Mixed emotions about those. I probably will never have those again, if I'm honest. In terms of the more treatment, I'll do talk about this a little bit more in my alopecia video, but just to summarise, I did actually go on to some steroid tablets that were basically working to suppress your immune system, and then basically when it like builds itself back up again, with the hope that it will kind of, your immune system will stop attacking your hair follicles. So I did try that, but I can only do that once in my life because of how like intense and like the high dosage that it was. And unfortunately it didn't work for me. Some people do see success with that, but quite often you see that once that treatment stops, your hair loss will pick up again, or like it will start falling out again. So those are the two treatments I've tried. In terms of like, what else is there? Creams or treatments? Yeah, so in terms of creams, I wasn't given anything from my doctor to put on my head. I know some people do, but I don't know what ones are available because I just wasn't offered anything, and at the time I didn't really like push for it. I was just kind of, yeah, it was a weird time. But I do talk about minoxidil a little bit in that video too. This is something that I did consider, but I ultimately went against because of the extent of my hair loss. It was all over my head. It wasn't just in patches. I did basically was advised and decided against it. Not only that, some of the side effects can be quite bad. You can get like headaches and fatigue, and you know, also with minoxidil, and I think it's also called Regain. I know it is really high success rate in getting your hair back, but the problem is once you stop using it, your hair loss will fall out, so it's quite a big commitment. So I didn't really want to do that every day. Yeah, so that's just something I haven't really tried. In terms of creams, I did actually try castor oil for a while. I have heard that it can be quite good, and also putting like turmeric powder on my head and stuff. But again, those didn't really like make a huge difference to me, although to be honest, with the castor oil, I did only try for like a week or so. I just found it to be a little bit of a pain to actually use, you know, putting like thick oil on your head and sitting with it for a couple of hours. I just found it to be a bit of a pain. I don't really like doing things that are a little bit like uncomfortable or a bit of a pain really, so I haven't really given it much of a try. But yeah, I would be interested to hear if any of you guys have tried any creams that have been successful for you. Please do let me know, because it's something that I don't really know huge amounts about, but I probably would be open to trying something, but I haven't really tried a huge amount. Oh Christ, so we've only got 2 left. So how did you feel shaving your head? Yeah, it's not really something I like to remember. I actually do not think that I was mentally like ready to shave my head, although at the time I had hardly any hair left. I will put a picture on the screen of what my hair looked like before I shaved it, and it was time. I think it probably would have been probably like 1 to 2 weeks before I had nothing left, the rate my hair was falling out. But I think for me, I kind of put off shaving my head because I had this like ongoing hope that it was going to stop and my hair would just come back. So for me, taking the plunge and shaving my head whilst I still had quite a lot of hair seemed like quite a drastic thing to do. In hindsight, knowing that I was going to lose it anyway, I actually wish I'd done it sooner, because I think it was almost more damaging seeing my hair falling out in that way. And although once I shaved my head, it was a shock, and it did take me quite a while to get used to it. I know for some people they say it can be quite empowering and like you're taking back a bit of control. For me, it actually felt the opposite. I just did not feel ready for it, but everyone is different. If you are in a stage and you're ready to go for it, then do, because once it's done, you're not dealing with that hair loss every day, and actually that was quite a relief. But at the same time, I just didn't feel like I was ready for it. I think I was just in such huge denial, and yeah, it was a really hard time. So I didn't really enjoy shaving my head. Thank God for my partner, he did it for me. I don't know how those razors work. But yeah, mixed emotions really. It's not really a time I like to think about. It's probably one of the hardest parts of my hair loss journey, was the shaving of my head. Yeah, it still brings back some quite negative emotions and things. Even though I'm in quite like a good place of it now, it was quite a rough time. So the final question is, do you recommend getting your eyebrows tattooed? Yes, definitely. So I think they're fantastic. And the reason I think they're so good is because they're amazing at whatever stage of hair loss you're at, even if you don't have any, you know. I think eyebrow tattooing is more common actually in people that don't have alopecia and just want kind of like fuller, less hassle eyebrows, because it's just a permanent shape. So I actually got my eyebrows tattooed when I just had one small patch of hair loss on my eyebrow. I still had all the rest of the hair on my body. At that time, I just had one little bit gone. And I am so thankful that I got them done, because when later on in my alopecia journey, once I did actually start losing my eyebrows, they were already there. So yeah, I highly recommend, if you're looking at getting your eyebrows tattooed, then definitely go for it. I'll link the information down below of who I got mine done with, and she is fantastic. The whole way through, she's just so good. So yeah, I'll try and zoom in a little bit, see if you can see them. But I'll also put a picture on the screen as well, just because it's quite bright in here and stuff. But yeah, I definitely recommend getting your eyebrows tattooed. It's just nice to have that sense of security, you know, because again, with alopecia, you just don't really know what it's going to do. And yeah, so I'm just really glad I got mine done, and I recommend them to everyone, whether you have hair loss or not. They're great. I really recommend them. So yeah, that's the end of the Q&A. If you guys do have any more questions, then please do let me know down below, because I'd love to do another video like these. These are the sort of videos that I love watching, even though I've like gone through hair loss and have alopecia now. I just find it really interesting to hear like other people's like insights and things, and like get a little bit more information about alopecia in general. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you found it interesting. And yeah, like I said before, please do like and subscribe. I put out videos on hair loss and pole fitness too. So yeah, see you again soon.